There's only two teams with double-digit wins, right now anyway, and that are Bills and Chiefs. Chiefs have a one-game lead, but it's basically a half game because the Bills beat them head-to-head. Taking a look at these two teams, who is the better bet to go to the Super Bowl out of the AFC? Old Faithful that is currently ahead in the standings in Kansas City? Or are you going all the way up to Buffalo, who will host this thing if they can pick up a game in this home stretch? Larry Hartstein, you are first.
Got to go with the team that scored 30 points in 6 straight games. The Buffalo Bills. Keon Coleman, Dalton Kincaid, not even in the lineup. And look at what they're doing offensively. Matt Milano comes back to solidify the middle of that defense. And when they get into the playoffs, they don't have to worry about forcing the ball to a Stephon Diggs, who had a key drop in the loss to the Chiefs. When I look at the Chiefs, of course, they're still viable, but it all comes down to that left tackle spot, EK. They benched their second left tackle in the game against the Raiders. They're going to trot out DJ Humphries, 30 years old and coming off an ACL tear last season in Week 17. Hopefully he'll be the answer and that offense will get back to normal, but that's a big question mark right now. So as of now, I got to take the Bills.
Alex?
It's hard to count out Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, especially when we're talking about playoff football. They tend to turn it on and have an additional gear that they can go to. But I'm in agreement with Larry here. This Bills team has just been so impressive, top to bottom, despite losing the two pass catchers Larry mentioned. In addition to Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Josh Allen just having an MVP caliber season, which we're going to touch on shortly. Just been absolutely phenomenal. The offense is so balanced. We're seeing James Cook, the rookie Davis as well. They have a very good 1-2 punch at running back, not having to force feed any receivers. The defense is good, and they've stayed pretty healthy for the most part. No real significant injuries. So they're one of the healthiest teams. They're playing exceptional football. They're extremely balanced. I've got to go with the Bills here.
Got Matt Milano back last week. We'll see if he can slide right in. Should get a month to really get himself in game shape. He's a terrific all-pro kind of player. Kansas City plays with their food. I mean, there's no two ways about it. I mean, they're waiting until late Sunday night to do their class project that's due on Monday, but they're still getting A's. I don't know how they're doing, but they're still getting A's. I think whoever hosts the game will win the game if it comes down there. I don't think Buffalo will walk into Arrowhead. I will take Patrick Mahomes in his barn to find it somehow, some way. If the game's in Buffalo, I think Buffalo has to make up that game down the stretch. I kind of pulled the schedules. Bills are going to go at the Rams, at Detroit. This is where I think you're going to know in 2 weeks. Because then they have New England, the Jets, New England. I think you're going to know in the next 2 weeks. If Buffalo drops one of those two, they're in trouble. Meanwhile, Kansas City, they have the Chargers at Cleveland, Houston at home, at Pittsburgh, at Denver. Much harder schedule. If the Bills can make up the game, I'll take the Bills. So I would play the Bills right now, but man, I would be nervous if I had to go into Kansas City and try to beat Patrick Mahomes because, as you said, Alex, I think an underrated point here is they find a way to find another gear. They just know how to do it in the playoffs, right? It is a skill that you acquire, that experience to know how to be able to sort of flip the switch when you need to. And nobody does it better than that group at Arrowhead. All right, Josh Allen right now, minus 250 to win the MVP, Larry. I mean, that's an implied percentage of 71.4%. I mean, he went from even money at kickoff to minus 250, 71.4%. Is that porridge too hot, too cold, or just right for you, Goldilocks?
A little too hot for me because I don't think Saquon Barkley at plus 325 or whatever the live number is at BetMGM is out of this race at all. I mean, Saquon Barkley is on pace to break the all-time season record for rushing. And if the Eagles run the table and get the number 1 seed, which is very possible given the Lions have that tough game with the Bills coming up and some other tough games. I mean, look at the teams that Saquon has to face. He has the Panthers, he has the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Giants. Those are 4 cake matchups in terms of run defense. He also has the Steelers. So he has one, decently tough matchup out of his last 5. He's going to put up monster numbers, and this Eagles team overall is just such a juggernaut right now. If they get the number 1 seed and the Bills somehow stumble and Kansas City gets the number 1 seed, I think Saquon is very viable.
Like, if a non-quarterback wins the MVP, who wins Offensive Player of the Year then? You know what I mean? Like, do you win both? You got to vote for somebody. Like, I haven't even looked it up. I just assume every year it's going to be a quarterback, and I wonder if voters are sort of pre-programmed to go there and kind of give the guy like who's having a great year, Saquon, that other award. Alex, I'll go quick and then I'll get into you. I like Lamar here as a long shot at the price. And I'll tell you, there's a really, really, really long shot I like, and that would be Jordan Love, who's not even on the board. Like, this time last year, Brock Purdy was the favorite. We ain't really talking about Lamar. And then by the time, and a month later, it was unanimous, basically. What if Green Bay wins this division? What if they walk in Thursday night and smack Detroit around and he's great? What if Minnesota kind of takes a step back? What if suddenly Green Bay ends up the number 1 seed and this guy has a great month and he's 100-1 right now? I would take Lamar and then I would throw a little sprinkle, as we say, on Jordan Love. What about you?
Well, if you've been watching this program, you'd have a ticket, hopefully, on Josh Allen at plus 500. I've been touting him 4 weeks now. I think the odds reflect where the value is, although I wouldn't bet him at the current price here. I don't think Saquon is a viable candidate because of that Offensive Player of the Year award, which is basically designed to give it to the best offensive player or non-quarterback in the league. Saquon would truly have to just break pretty much every single running back record in addition to the Eagles running the table and then the Bills potentially collapsing here. Considering Josh Allen, what he had to work with coming into the year, losing the 2 alpha wide receivers, the expectations of the Bills taking a step back, maybe not even being the 2nd or 3rd best team in the division. It's his award to lose. He's been absolutely phenomenal, having just an efficiency season, one of the great seasons of all time. So if every bit as good as Saquon's been at running back, I can make the argument that Josh Allen has been that good at quarterback. I do anticipate they're going to win a minimum of 13 games, 12 at worst, which would be a pretty significant upset. It's Josh Allen's award to lose. I don't think there's value in betting him now. If I were to take a look at someone else in the market, it'd be Jared Goff. I think if the Lions can win out here, he's a viable candidate as well, just considering what he's done in the season he's had. So it's Josh Allen or nothing for me, but if I were to go look at a long shot at 10-1 odds, it'd be Jared Goff.